Okay, so let's do a little practice with our two verbs walking rule. And okay, we're going to use the verb to need, necesitar. Okay, so here I have some sentences and I'm going to say them in English, and I want you to get out a piece of paper and a pencil and see if you can write them in Spanish. Okay? So the first sentence is, I need to buy an apple. I need to buy an apple. Okay, and you can pause the video if you need more time. I'm going to go ahead and write the answer in Spanish, and then I'll say for you. So while I'm writing, you try to write the sentence and see how you do. I need to buy an apple. Here we go. Yo necesito comprar una manzana. Yo necesito comprar una manzana. And remember in the last video I said you don't have to say the yo because it's part of this conjugation. The O ending informs us that we're talking about I. Okay, so you could just say necesito comprar una manzana. Okay, and that would be fine. Our next sentence is you informal, so the familiar tú form. You need to sleep. You need to sleep. So you're going to have to remember how to conjugate necesitar for the to form, and then you're going to have to remember how to say to sleep. If you don't know, you can go to wordreference.com and just type in, search for the word to sleep, or you can just type in sleep, and it'll bring up the Spanish verb for you. Okay, you need to sleep. Tú necesitas dormir. Tú necesitas dormir. Okay? Let's try another one. And remember, you can always pause the video if you need more time, if I'm going too fast. He needs to eat. Ah, where'd I go? He needs to eat. Okay? How do you say that in Spanish? And remember, with the last example, tú necesitas dormir. Remember, you don't have to say the tú, the subject tú, because it's included in that conjugation that the as ending implies that you're talking informally to one person, you. Okay? So you could just say necesitas dormir, and that means you need to sleep. Okay, our next sentence that we're going to try to write in Spanish is he needs to eat. He needs to eat. He needs to eat. Can you see that? I can't really. Él necesita comer. I love how I'm like peeking over the board. Él necesita comer. He needs to eat. Now in that instance, okay, remember that A ending in the last video. If you haven't watched the last video, you need to. It teaches you how to conjugate the verb necesitar. And remember that for that, the bottom, I always make this grid. Here, let me just take a little, run down a little rabbit trail. When I'm teaching my students how to conjugate, I use this grid. Okay, so for this part of the grid right here, here we have yo, tú, but this one can mean three. The ending here in this, when we conjugate this, the subjects that go in this part of the grid, it's he, she, and you formal. Okay, so in that case, it does help to use the subject. Remember I said, like, if you say, yo necesito comer, I need to eat, you don't have to say the yo, because necesito means I. Okay, but for that bottom part of the grid, we're talking about three subjects. Él, ella, usted. So in that case, you want to say the subject like él or ella or usted, depending on who's doing the action, just to clarify, because it could mean more than one. If it's understood in the conversation that you're talking about he or she, or you're talking to someone, then you don't have to say it. It's not grammatically incorrect. Okay, so he needs to eat. We say él because we want to be clear we're talking about he. Okay, él necesita comer. Our next sentence is you, the formal you, okay, need to go to the store. And like I said, you can pause the video for more time. You can go to wordreference.com if you need help looking up some of these words. Okay, you need to go to the store. You need to go to the store. How do you write that in Spanish? You need to go to the store. You need to go to the store. Where are we? Usted necesita ir a la tienda. Usted necesita ir a la tienda. You need to go to the store. And the last one is we need to call the police. I was running out of ideas. So it gets a little dramatic when that happens. We need to go to the store. Remember in that last example we put the usted, we keep that in there to be clear, because necesita could mean he needs, necesita also means she needs, and necesita can also mean you formal need. So we put that subject usted at the beginning to be clear who needs to do that, what. Okay, so our last example, our last practice sentence is we need to call the police. I'm running out of room. You probably are too, because the we form is very long. Are you ready? Nosotros necesitamos llamar a la policía. Okay? La policía is like the police force, the general noun for the police in general. El policía, it would be one police officer. Nosotros necesitamos llamar a la policía. Okay, and so in that example, if we're talking about we and we are a group of girls, then we would say nosotras. This O would change to an A. Nosotras. We, the girls. If it's a mixed group, girls and guys, nosotros. If it's only guys, nosotros. So the masculine form always takes is what we use when there's a mixed group. Okay, so we only use the nosotras if there's only girls. Alright, so those are your practice sentences. See if you can maybe, using some verbs that you know, talk about what different people need to do. Or even think about today, if it's the beginning of the day, or tomorrow, if you're at the end of your day. Think about what you need to do today or what you need to do tomorrow. And then just make a list. Like, say it's the morning time, you still need to eat breakfast, brush your teeth, get dressed, and go to school. Try to write those sentences in Spanish, okay? And you can even write them in the comments below, and I can check them for you if you want to see if you did them correctly. So just remember, when two verbs go walking, the second one is in the infinitive. Okay, so you conjugate the first verb, depending on who's doing the action, and the second one is in the infinitive. It's unchanged. We leave that AR, ER, or IR ending. Have fun! Adios!